I'm so sorry. Please, I beg you.
You useless old woman. Do you know how much that vase cost? You're fired. Get out.
Please stop. You'll cut your hands.
Miss Emily, don't interfere. This is none of your business.
It became my business the moment you started shouting at someone old enough to be your mother.
The room fell silent. Several relatives exchanged amused glances. Daniel Morgan's arrogant aunt folded her arms. Oh, Emily, don't waste your sympathy on servants. She'll only break something else tomorrow. Emily looked directly at her. Everyone deserves respect, no matter what uniform they are wearing. The old maid lowered her head, hiding tears that suddenly filled her eyes. No one in the mansion knew that the frail woman kneeling on the polished floor wasn't a maid at all. She was Eleanor Morgan, owner of the mansion, mother of Billionaire CEO Daniel Morgan. For the past 2 weeks, she had been secretly living as an ordinary housemaid to answer one question. Did Daniel's fiancée truly love him? Or did she only love the billionaire lifestyle? Before we continue, take a second to subscribe, like this video, and tell us in the comments, if you suddenly lost all your money, who do you think would still stand beside you? Now let's continue. 2 weeks earlier. I want to marry her, mother. Daniel stood confidently inside his mother's private office overlooking the city skyline. Across from him, Eleanor Morgan calmly stirred her tea. You've said that before? Daniel sighed. This is different. You said Olivia was different. Daniel remained silent. You also said Vanessa was different. They were mistakes. They weren't mistakes, Eleanor replied quietly. They were lessons. She stood and walked toward a wall covered with family photographs. Every woman you've introduced to me loved your cars. She pointed at another picture. They loved your private jet. Another. They loved your bank account. Daniel smiled weakly. But Emily isn't like them. How can you be so sure? Because when we met, she didn't know who I was. Eleanor turned. Explain. I met her at a charity reading program for children. You never mentioned that. I left my security team outside because I wanted one normal afternoon. He laughed softly. I spilled coffee on my shirt. And everyone stared. But Emily walked over and offered me tissues. Did she recognize you? No. What happened next? Daniel smiled at the memory. She spent 2 hours helping children read storybooks. No selfies. No flirting. No trying to impress anyone. When I asked what she did for a living, she said she taught at an elementary school. And when did she discover you were a billionaire? Almost 3 months later. Eleanor raised an eyebrow. And she stayed. Daniel nodded. She was actually angry. Angry. She said I should have trusted her enough to tell the truth. Eleanor remained thoughtful. I apologized. And she forgave me. Eleanor slowly walked back to her chair. I believe she cares for you. Daniel smiled. But I don't yet know whether she can withstand what comes with this family. Daniel frowned. What do you mean? Money changes people. It also attracts people. I've spent 30 years protecting everything your father and I built. She leaned forward. I won't hand this family over to someone whose kindness disappears when nobody important is watching. Daniel crossed his arms. So what are you suggesting? Eleanor smiled. I'm going to disappear. Daniel blinked. I'm sorry. I'm going undercover. He laughed. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. As what? A maid. Daniel stared at her for several seconds before realizing she wasn't joking. Mother. You don't trust private investigators? I trust my own eyes more. 3 days later. The Morgan mansion welcomed a new employee. Mrs. Grace. a quiet 70-year-old widow recommended by a staffing agency. Her grey hair was tied neatly beneath a simple scarf. She wore oversized glasses, loose uniforms, comfortable shoes. No jewelry, no makeup. Even the mansion staff barely looked at her. Perfect. Only Daniel and the head of security knew Mrs. Grace's true identity. Everyone else believed she was simply another elderly employee trying to earn enough money to survive. On Emily's first day at the mansion, she stepped inside carrying 2 homemade cakes. The chef looked surprised. "Miss Emily." She smiled warmly. "I baked these for everyone. The family. For everyone. The security guards, gardeners, cleaners, cooks." She laughed. "I don't think anyone should work while everyone else celebrates." Word spread quickly. Within minutes, every employee had gathered in the kitchen. Even Mrs. Grace quietly accepted a slice. "You made this yourself?" the old maid asked softly. Emily nodded. "My grandmother taught me." Mrs. Grace tasted a bite. "It's delicious. I'm glad you like it." Just then, Daniel's Aunt Victoria entered the kitchen. Her smile disappeared immediately. "What is everyone doing in here?" The workers froze. Emily answered. "We are sharing cake." Victoria looked disgusted. "With the staff?" Emily nodded. "They've been working all morning." Victoria grabbed a plate from the counter and threw it into the trash. "The servants can eat after the family finishes." The room became painfully quiet. Emily stared at the untouched cake inside the garbage bin. Then she looked back at Victoria. "I'll bake another one." Victoria smirked. "You really don't understand how this household works." Emily smiled politely. "Maybe not. But I understand how people should be treated." Across the kitchen, Mrs. Grace watched every word without saying a thing. For the first time since beginning her secret test, Eleanor Morgan felt something she hadn't expected. Hope. But she also knew one act of kindness wasn't enough. If Emily's heart was truly genuine, it would remain the same when life became difficult. And Eleanor had already planned a test so devastating that it would expose everyone's true character, including the one woman her son wanted to marry. She simply prayed Emily would survive what was coming. Emily had barely finished unpacking her suitcase when a sharp knock echoed on her bedroom door. She opened it to find Mrs. Grace struggling with a heavy basket of freshly washed towels. "Oh my goodness," Emily exclaimed. "Why are you carrying all of that by yourself?" The old maid forced a smile. "The younger workers are busy decorating the ballroom." "Then let me help." "Oh no, Miss Emily. The family might not like that." Emily reached for the basket anyway. "I didn't ask whether they'd like it." She smiled warmly. "I asked where we're taking this." Mrs. Grace chuckled softly. "The guest rooms." "Then let's go." As they walked through the long hallway, Emily noticed the older woman's breathing becoming heavier. "Are you alright?" "I'm just getting old. My grandmother used to say growing old isn't the problem." Mrs. Grace looked at her. "What is?" "Growing old without people who care." The elderly woman looked away, swallowing hard. For a brief moment, she forgot she was playing a role. She almost hugged the young woman. Instead, she simply nodded. "You remind me of someone." "My grandmother." "No. My younger self." Later that afternoon, Emily wandered into the mansion's enormous garden. She found one of the gardeners sitting alone with his head lowered. "Is everything okay?" she asked. The man quickly stood. "Yes, Mississippi. You don't look okay." "My daughter is in the hospital." Emily's smile disappeared. "What happened?" "She needs surgery." "I'm sorry. The doctors said they need payment before tomorrow." Emily remained quiet for several seconds. Then she slowly removed the gold bracelet from her wrist. The gardener stared at her. "Miss, what are you doing? This should cover part of the cost." "I can't accept this." "You aren't accepting it." She gently placed it into his hand. "You're borrowing hope." Tears filled the man's eyes. "I'll pay you back when your daughter gets better." Mrs. Grace had witnessed everything from a nearby window. She quietly wrote another note inside the small journal she carried in her apron. "She gives without expecting recognition." That evening, Daniel arrived home. Emily ran toward him with a bright smile. "You're finally back." Daniel hugged her tightly. "I missed you." His Aunt Victoria rolled her eyes. "They've only been apart for 6 hours." Emily laughed. "It felt longer." Daniel kissed her forehead. "How was your day?" Before Emily could answer, Victoria interrupted. "Your fiancé spent the day playing Maid." Emily looked at her calmly. "I was helping." Victoria scoffed. "Helping servants? They are people. They are employees. They are both." Victoria turned to Daniel. "You really intend to marry someone who doesn't understand class?" Daniel's expression hardened. "I intend to marry someone who understands humanity." Victoria fell silent. Mrs. Grace watched from across the room. Her son's answer filled her with pride. But the biggest test had not yet begun. The following morning, Eleanor secretly met with the head of security inside a private office hidden beneath the mansion. "Everything is ready?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am." "No one suspects?" "No." She handed him a sealed envelope. "Tomorrow morning, release the news. All of it. Every headline. The fake bankruptcy." "Exactly." He hesitated. "This is a dangerous test." "It needs to be. If Miss Emily truly loves Daniel, she'll stay. And if she doesn't?" Eleanor closed the envelope. "We'll know before the wedding." The next morning, every television inside the mansion suddenly switched to breaking news. Breaking news. Morgan Global Holdings faces financial collapse. Employees stopped moving. Guests froze. Victoria grabbed the remote. "What nonsense is this?" The news anchor continued. "Multiple investors have withdrawn funding after reports of massive corporate losses." Another headline appeared. "Banks freeze Morgan assets." Emily looked toward Daniel. His face remained unusually calm. "Daniel." He slowly lowered his eyes. "I'm sorry." The room erupted. "What do you mean you're sorry?" Victoria screamed. "How could this happen?" Daniel remained silent. His cousin Richard immediately pulled out his phone. "I need to call my lawyer." Another uncle whispered. "We should protect what's left." Within minutes, luxury suddenly disappeared. Wedding planners cancelled contracts. Florists demanded advance payment. The expensive orchestra refused to perform. Business associates stopped answering Daniel's calls. One by one, people vanished. Emily watched everything unfold in disbelief. Not because of the money, because of how quickly people changed. That evening, Victoria knocked on Emily's bedroom door. "I'd like a word." Emily invited her inside. Victoria sat elegantly on the sofa. "You seem like an intelligent girl." "I try to be." "Then listen carefully." Emily remained silent. "The Morgan family is finished." Emily frowned. "We don't know that." "Oh, we do." Victoria leaned closer. "My advice." "What advice?" "Leave Daniel." Emily stared at her. "Excuse me. You're young. Beautiful. You can still marry another wealthy man." Emily almost laughed. "I don't remember asking for a replacement." I'm trying to save your future. My future isn't measured by someone's bank account. Victoria sighed dramatically. You'll regret this. Emily stood. I'd regret abandoning someone I love far more. Victoria walked toward the door. Love doesn't pay bills. Emily answered without hesitation. But greed destroys families. Victoria slammed the door behind her. Hours later, Emily entered Daniel's study. She found him sitting alone in darkness. I brought dinner. I'm not hungry. She placed the tray down anyway. You should eat. Daniel looked exhausted. I'm sorry your life turned upside down because of me. Emily sat beside him. My life isn't upside down. You've lost everything. She smiled gently. No. I still have you. Daniel looked away. You don't understand. I understand enough. She reached into her handbag. I was actually coming to tell you something. What? I listed my apartment for sale this afternoon. Daniel's eyes widened. You what? If the company needs money. No. If you need to start over. No, Emily. She took his hand. A home is just a building. You are my home. Hidden behind the slightly open study door. Mrs. Grace pressed a trembling hand against her mouth. She had expected kindness. She had expected loyalty. She had never expected sacrifice. Tears streamed silently down her face. The real nightmare had only just begun. If you're already enjoying this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe.